Welcome back to another episode of Minus 16, the podcast where we talk not only tech, but the business of YouTube as well. And we're all together once again. I think there's a Sister Slade Strong called that back together again. Anyway. How was your holiday, first of all, Alex?
Amazing. Yes. Still, straight back into it though. Every evening since going back, I worked 11, 12, 1 a.m. So yeah. Already a distant dream, but it was nice. Thank you.
I did happen to see on Twitter there was a flight delay or something, right?
Oh yeah, that was actually a nice extra evening in Portugal that I didn't really plan for. But all in all, it was like 5 hours at the airport. I'd rather not be. Yeah. It was a nice little extra bonus to be at the hotel because we went back to the same hotel in the end and whatever. But yeah, BA didn't help us return.
Did that have anything to do with the Microsoft outage with that whole CrowdStrike thing?
You know, I thought of it, but it was like a week after, so it could be, right? Who knows? The plane we were about to come back with, never left the UK that evening, so they had to rebook us on when they do like a chartered plane, like completely white, no logos. So it's painful because you always expecting we had a lounge access and everything, and
who'd you fly with?
BA, British Airways.
So I flew Ryanair from England to Portugal, had no issues. Must be nice on that British Airways. Must be very nice.
yeah, exactly. Well, on the plane back, it was pretty much, it could have been anything.
Yeah,
okay. It was a
nondescript,
operated by whatever.
And of course, it's really weird getting used to this kind of round the world podcast that we're doing now. Me and Alex are sitting here sweltering, shirts, trying to keep as cool as possible, windows open as long as possible. And as you in kind of vague wintertime, bemoaning it's 15 degrees.
Yeah, it's close to wintertime here. I wouldn't say it's like actually winter.
This is the first time, when you get those emails about the neck fans, I'm actually considering, I might say yes to it now because it is that hot.
Yeah, this is the best way I can describe this place.
14. That's cool. Yeah.
At 8 p.m.
Best place way I can. This is quite a small studio, and best way I can describe it is when I shut the windows down. It's like leaving a dog in a car. You immediately just feel the heat go boom. And I have
the problem I had. This is like confessions here. In the evening, because I've got a studio light sometimes on to record stuff, it attracts so many bugs, so I have to shut the windows.
Mm-hmm.
And I can hear the bugs hitting the window because they can see the light. But the heat is just like, so I'm in a sauna.
It is horrible, isn't it?
I'm thinking to myself, this is healthy, right? This is like, I'm actually losing weight.
Exactly. I had this box of tissues once. In between every take, I was just like dabbing, trying to keep the beads of sweat off. Now I look down at my shirt. Okay, we're talking admissions. I'm going to go deep here, boys. I'm going to say this once, and I forever expect you to take the piss out of me. Yes, I do wear makeup when I do the videos, just to give them, right? So the last thing I did on Monday when I was recording, I had this beautiful white shirt. White shirt wouldn't show sweat. I thought, brilliant. It's perfect. Last thing I did, I pulled the shirt on, squirted the foundation, and the bottle was getting empty. Just went, and I had this huge foundation fart down my shirt, and it's like, damn, now I'm screwed. Luckily I had spare shirts here. We've always got spare shirts, right? But oh man, it was hot. It was about 29 degrees, 30 degrees in here on Monday. And
I'm trying not to laugh about your foundation.
I'm hoping to get sponsored by Wallpaper Men. What can I say?
Maybe I'll do that offline.
I said I'm going to be honest. Hey, it's out there now. It's out there.
You should enter the Olympics this year.
Well, identify as a woman and just go and smash 7 cars out of a woman.
Yeah, cut that.
So, boys, enough of the preamble. Should we begin talking about actual tech?
Yes, I think so.
Yes, we've got plenty juicy stuff to talk about YouTube a little bit later on. Now, this is the first time that you two have been together since Samsung Unpacked, because obviously Alex was on holiday, went to the event in London. So basically, I'm thinking I can just sit back, put my feet up, have a cup of coffee while you two yak on about what's brilliant in the world of Samsung. How does that sound?
Perfect to me,
Yep.
Except
easy session for me.
I have 2 devices. I have the Watch Ultra and the Watch 7. I have not yet got my Fold and my Flip or the Buds. So I'm still a little bit light, to be honest. But Alex, you've got everything.
Or the Ring. You haven't got the Ring yet either.
No, I don't have the Ring.
I've got the Ring and I've tried all of the devices. I've been using the Fold pretty much as my main phone right now. But I do have a lot of thoughts about the watch. It's probably out of all the products is the one I have the most, I won't say negative, but the most, criticisms. But yeah, let's
And
talk about.
you look like you're beginning to make a video, aren't you, about the watches? From what I saw, Alex.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me, yes, yeah. I mean, I'm constantly every gym session is also a content creation set. You know, is as you know, every 5 minutes you've got that involves you testing a bit of gear. Yeah, you take the opportunity. So yeah, I'm going for a run, but I'm also stopping every every mile or whatever and just recording a bit of content, talking about it. So it's just building up that library, and then eventually it will be part of the review. Yeah.
See, I've only had.
So
Oh, sorry, go, David.
yeah, no. I was going to say talk watches because obviously Alex, you just said that's one you think you got the most thoughts on, and you've actually got the Watch 7 and the Ultra. You said, don't
Yeah,
you?
the
Yeah,
seven
yeah.
just arrived yesterday, but the Ultra I've had for about a few days now.
So thoughts?
Yeah.
Um, I love. Sorry, I love the white. I think the white is very, very standoutish. I originally was like, nah. I did try the black one today. I had it literally for 24 hours, and I had to send it back to Samsung. And I loved the black too with the orange, but the white, something about it. So aesthetically, I do like the design, but battery life has been pretty average. Like for a watch
Okay.
of this for a
Okay.
watch of this size with
Yeah.
the big features that it has, I've literally
That's the
only
Ultra.
that's the Ultra. I've had maybe pushing close to 2 days since I got it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That's what I had, and I would say that's average is you're very kind, right? Because an Ultra watch for me, and that's the same for the Apple Watch Ultra. But I think the Apple Watch Ultra gets me over 2 days if I try it. I haven't compared them recently on the battery side, compared them on other aspects, but yeah, the battery is not getting to 2 days at all, and it's actually frustrating. So I fully charged it 2 evenings ago, and then by last night it was like 30. So 24 hours later, it's already down to like less than 40%. And this morning, because I used to do my sleep tracking and whatever, yeah, I woke up and it was dead already, like on that watch only mode. So it only shows you the
the
time.
time, yeah.
So yeah, it's a
It's
bit frustrating. But I guess it's for my review, I'm thinking it's a mindset change, right? For people, especially like people like me who've been trying the Garmin's recently, is definitely a habit change as well, because you got to get into your routine that the battery is the battery. It's not an issue, it's just what it is. So whenever you're having a shower, maybe just put it in the charger. But it's also very slow to charge, so you got to kind of think about that. Maybe yeah, it's just something you got to think about and build into your routine, because it does takes quite a bit to charge, and two, it needs charging pretty much every day. So,
the thing is too, I've got the Watch 5 Pro, which is what the Watch Ultra is upgrading from. And this has the same size battery as this
mm,
does. And this is, I would say, considerably smaller. It's a 45 watch face versus 47. So,
mm,
and it's got the processor is not as powerful. This is the Exynos 3 nanometer. This is I want to say 5, but I can't remember
mm.
specifically. This lasted me 4 days. Easy.
Oof.
4 days
Yeah,
on a single
yeah,
charge. And fundamentally, it's very similar in function. It's the same in terms, the sensors aren't as good, but it still does all of that same active stuff that this does.
yeah.
Um,
And I know I don't know how much control, because now is Wear OS instead of Samsung's own thing, right? So there's a lot more sensors. There's a lot going on. I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, when you go to like all the sports that you can track and things like that, it's incredible the functionality in there. But one thing that I wish it had, and I don't know if this is something that Samsung has control over because it's a Google thing, right? um, but is to have a mode where you go, right, I don't care about any of the smartwatch stuff. I just want it for today. I just want to do fitness tracking, so that
mm,
it conserves battery in a way
Mm.
that I only care about 2, 3 sports modalities, right? I don't care about every single like 30 or 40 sports in there. So stop tracking all that crap. Just give me what I need, and therefore, stop, wasting battery. Because
it,
that's what Garmin would do sometimes. You can, I mean, you can't do a lot of the smartwatch stuff on it, but it will last. It will last weeks, to be fair. But yeah, I think it would be something to consider, because yeah, sometimes you don't need all the other tracking.
you do have a watch only mode where you can turn off everything and it's just literally will just display the time for you. cut off all the sensors and everything like that.
Yeah,
And then you could turn that off when you want to do your fitness activity.
that's
But
too
it's too
extreme though.
fiddly, right? The only other way you could maybe program that is in a routine, where you could program a watch routine that when you're at the gym, it changes. I might look into that. Because there
Yeah,
might be like a
it's
workaround to make that happen.
yeah, because
But
watch only is useless. I think it's just like,
When
if
yeah,
it's watch
a
only,
digital
I just
watch.
wear a Casio watch,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
yeah.
But I think it needs to be something in between that is like, I do want it to track my steps. I want to track my calories burn and all that. But I may not need every single thing to be tracked during the day. You know?
So I'm no great authority on. I've got a Watch 8, but I haven't got a Watch Ultra yet. But I mean, from what you're saying, the Garmin is still head and tails the best of the watches. Is it the
Yeah,
case that the other two watches are trying to do too much? Do you think?
they can't really be compared like for like, right? Because one, like, it took me a while to get to get that into my own head. But yeah, one is the Garmin is more of a fitness tracking device rather than a smartwatch.
Mm.
It does have some smartwatch features like playing your music through it, but you can't have many apps on it. You can't have, all the functionalities that you have on this. You can't, call somebody. There's a lot that it doesn't have from a smartwatch functionality. But for if you're just comparing the fitness tracking capabilities, I'd say, yeah, Garmin is head and shoulders above everything.
but I think the thing with smartwatches, like especially the ones from Apple and Samsung, is they have to consider the non-fitness enthusiast as much
Yeah,
as the
yeah,
people that do look at it for their health journey, because some people want the convenience. They just want the notifications to come through from their phone. They want phone calls,
yeah,
check the time, messages. That's what they're looking for. So they need to balance it. They need to offer a bit of both. And that's
yeah.
where things like the super bright AMOLED screen and things like the digital touch bezel and some of the extra sort of AI features kind of come into it. But yeah,
Mm.
on a pure fitness function, there's just not enough to
No,
compare. And
and
then the battery
the
life.
name, yeah, the name Ultra would suggest, right, that it's for that athlete. I mean, it's not even for me. It's for someone that is like, competing stuff. The reality is, if you give it to like even someone who does like a basic triathlon, yeah, they won't like it because there's too much management on battery and things like that you got to consider.
Consider, yeah.
They would just say, "Well, I'll just use my Garmin." Even the most battery consuming Garmin, like the Epics that has an OLED screen, that like even that lasts like 7 days battery.
I
So
think
yeah,
I think with the battery it will get better. Like it will optimize.
I hope so.
Samsung phones
Yeah.
usually do that, and I'm hoping the watches do the same.
Oh,
And
they
I'm
kind of
hoping,
go through a learning cycle.
yeah, they go through a learning cycle of your usage patterns and then settle down. At the
Mm.
start, it's kind of like just firing everything up at the same time. Like, do they need this? Do they need that? And then once it realizes they don't, it does sort of calm down. And I have read that there is a software update coming to sort of patch, because the Watch 7 apparently has been having battery issues as well. Although I haven't used
Mm.
this and I probably won't. I don't know why I got this. I literally have no use for it. It just looks like a pebble. Anyway,
I would be happy with 3 days, and
me
that's true
too.
for the Apple Watch
Me
Ultra as
too.
well. I think 3 days for an Ultra device is kind of where it should be. Apple do say 72 hours, but I never
I
got
was going to say, did
72
you ever
hours.
get that out of the Apple Watch Ultra?
Never, never. I think when it first ever came out, and it was brand new, and probably the SIM functionality wasn't working yet. I think I did get more than 3 days, maybe 4 days. But the minute you start tracking sleeping and activity, I think I'm way more active now anyway than I was when I got the Apple Watch Ultra.
Mm.
So I think that all takes into account, right? If you are like exercising and if you are tracking your sleep, yeah, it will consume a lot more battery.
How does it
And
compare against the Ring?
So the Ring is probably my favorite Samsung device out of all the ones that they launched right now, because it's not only is doing all the data gathering and stuff like that you would need a watch to do, for example, for sleeping. But what I love about it is that it's very small and it doesn't get in the way. It's probably not the safest thing to wear in the gym, but there are exercises like bench presses and things like that you sometimes want to track without a watch, and especially if you run out of battery. um, so I wouldn't recommend it for someone to just like wear for every exercise at the gym, because you might get stuck and it's definitely not safe. But It doesn't get scratched against dumbbells or
That was going to be one of
kettlebells
my
or things like
questions,
that.
actually.
It's a major point, because I was using this other one this is from Ultra Human, and they're much shinier. I will try and show you here, but it's not gonna focus because of my. Oh,
There
here
we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's much higher polished finish, isn't it?
Yeah, but the trouble with that is it's very light as well, and it feels comfortable, and it's obviously better to sleep with than a watch. But at the gym, this, because it's wider and it's quite flat, it hits the dumbbell straight away, and you actually can't hold it comfortably. Whereas the Samsung, for my hands anyway, when you grip something, it doesn't get in the way. It's a weird thing, and this concave sort of design seems to just feels more comfortable when you're sleeping, because sometimes the weird thing to test, and I did show this in my video, but you do sometimes put your hand right like this. With that one, with the Ultra Human, you feel it and it scratches your face, right? It's just, so I have to change it to the thumb when I'm sleeping, which is not the most comfortable thing, and it doesn't track. I don't know, the veins in your thumb is not the same as the one on the indicator for some reason. Anyway, I think Samsung nailed it with this design.
I'm presuming
Early days,
the
but I'm
battery on those
enjoying
is
it.
battery on the rings is
goes.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you wear it with the watch, funnily enough, the watch takes over. So maybe that's not helping my case either, but the watch takes over some of the tracking when you're exercising. So the ring will last longer if you're wearing the watch at the same time. It's quite cool.
And you two have both got the watch, the Samsung Watch Ultra. I've heard a lot of sort of chit chat online about the Squircle design. Does it work in person, or does it look odd?
Oh yeah,
No, it looks
it
great.
does, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, and I don't know which band you went with. I got two. I got the sports one, and I've got the
Well, I've
I think the one
actually,
you've got there.
yeah, this is the one that came with the Watch Ultra.
Yeah,
But I've actually got a sponsor
It
called,
does look lovely design.
yeah, I got a
yeah. The
sponsor
trail.
for the new bands called Strapify. They sent me like 10 bands. And there's a really cool green one in there that I like. And there's also
I was gonna. Yeah, I was wondering about that, whether people would make them, because I tell you, someone who should make a band for the Galaxy Watch is Sandmark. I mean, they do the most amazing ones for the Apple Watch. I don't know if you've seen these, like, metally ones.
Oh, I've got one of them for the guys sent me one of those, like a black version of that. It's really, really classy.
Yeah, I want to look at those, because sometimes you know the orange is cool when you're kind of a sport casual mode or at the gym or whatever.
But if you're going out in the
But if you're in a
evening,
meeting, at work, and you're wearing a shirt, it doesn't go very. I mean, people are used to it now, but yeah, it's not as formal. So this is nice for, like, putting a dress shirt and whatever.
just swapping over to the phones for a minute. Something I've noticed watching the videos and just watching popularity this year, the Flip seems to have finally caught some interest.
Really?
It looks like it. I don't know. See, compared to last year, there was, it just seemed really, really flat. And this year, I'm looking at
My
people.
video tanked last year, yeah, on the Flip.
Yeah, I think
I tried
there was
everything with
no interest in it at all. This year, it just seems. I know flips aren't ever going to be the fold, and we kind of talked about it last time. They're very different markets. I get that, but it looks like the Flip finally is getting its little moment where people are beginning to think about. You clearly don't agree.
I think the phone is better than it was last year by a comfortable distance because of the camera, the processor, the vapor chamber, the design's a bit more refined. I don't know though. I don't know why though, but of the 3 hands-on videos I made a fold, a flip, and a ultra and buds. The flip did next to nothing for me, and then I just did that flip video, and it started really, really slow. And even my review on Say Mobile has started really, really slow. I feel like there's potentially I don't know, people are a little bit numb to foldables at the moment. Like, yeah, they were exciting when they launched, but I feel like now everyone's like, they haven't really fundamentally changed in the last 6 years. They're still doing the same things that they were when they first launched. They're still folding out to be a tablet, folding closed to be a phone. They're just slightly more better at doing that rather than redefining it every single launch, which makes it a little bit less interesting potentially to watch and talk about.
Yeah, I mean, the more consistent issue that I'm getting is it's not about the Flip, to be fair, but it's about the Fold, is that there's a 50-50 divide of people I'm on the side that thinks I think Samsung settled, and they're quite rightly keeping that design as is and only making minor adjustments. And I'm happy as you can be, because that format for me is perfect. There's a lot of customers who want a wider, because if you look at the competition like Google, Xiaomi, Oppo, Honor, there's a lot of Chinese brands coming up with foldables, and they are all like wider, like almost the same, well, if not bigger, some of them, same width as a slab phone. But when you open it, it's almost the same. So I think it's an interesting one, and there's some rumors that Samsung are bringing in a Fold Ultra to maybe plug that gap in the market. But I don't know. I'm quite happy with the Fold as it is. If they settle on that for the next few years, I'm just keep improving the display, obviously, and the cameras. But as a format, I'm quite happy with it. What do you think of the Fold design then? Dan?
Yeah, I appreciated the refinements they made. Like making it 1 millimeter wider
Mm,
was probably the extent I think they should go. And I think they
yeah,
made it a bit shorter as well. And making it that shorter and it's slightly wider means that you're getting more usable screen, but it's still comfortable and easy to use one handed. I think if you
I think that's the way. Thinner and lighter and better battery and better cameras is definitely the things that we should see in the next couple of years. And I wouldn't like for them to drop that design and go to a Pixel Fold style. I think it would be awesome to see what Samsung can do with that design.
you've
But yeah, I'm quite happy with
you've
how he is at the
you got to
moment.
think about it too. Like if Samsung were to go and throw out pretty much everything that they've built for the Fold, like their entire software has been designed
Mm,
around this design, like the shorter like cover screen that's a little bit narrow, and then the inner display which is built for productivity and multitasking. If they go and change the shape and developers now have to get on board with a different aspect ratio, like it's just going to annoy everybody. So I think
mm,
that keeping it consistent and just refining it every year, not only does
yeah,
it like improve it, but it also gives them somewhere to go. Like if you throw
yeah,
everything at the wall now and it doesn't work, there's a real risk in then not being able to do it again.
yeah.
So
I've seen a video somewhere that someone who went to Korea and saw that development and whatever, that they are actually trying, right, that all these different
absolutely.
formats and shapes. But I think one thing that I would like to see in future is not so much a wider but taller, so that when
Mm,
you open it and you kind of turn it, it would be a more like a tablet aspect ratio,
mm. Like a Tab
closer to
S9 or
16 by
something.
9.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that would be cool. But I think when it's closed, it's exactly what I need
Mm,
for like low distraction, quick access to messages and whatever. Sometimes I do a lot more than you can or than you should without
mm.
opening the fold,
Absolutely.
because it's one-handed and because it's easy and accessible. And because the minute you open it, it's so tempting to just like fire up a game and start playing, or
It
fire
makes
up
you
YouTube
want
and
to
start watching.
use it, right? It makes you want to do
Exactly.
more with it because you're like,
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm arrived in this big screen. Like, what can we do?
Yeah.
Whereas
Exactly.
without that, like if you just want to do a little bit of like social media browsing and check emails, the cover screen is perfect. Not only for
Mm,
it's just that one-handed use, and the fact it's so much more pocketable as well in that
mm,
sort of style.
mm,
If you've got two S24 Ultras stuck together, then that sort of
mm.
changes it again. Plus, the square design is really nice. Like that
Yeah.
squared flat
Yeah.
sides, it's beautiful, beautiful to look
Yeah,
at.
yeah. I do enjoy it. The fact it's lighter as well. I mean, I always like even the Fold 4, which is my first
Mm,
foldable. I loved even the balance, the weight. But comparing that with the Fold 6 now, it's just it's such a. The only thing I'm kind of debating now is you know will I miss the S24 Ultra? Can I just keep the Fold as my only phone? I think the answer is yes, but would I miss a lot? And I went through the same thing when I dropped my iPhone. Like as in
mm.
gave up the app. So I actually gave my 15 Pro Max to my wife now, and in a roundabout way, ended up getting a 15 Pro, which is stuck in my bag collecting dust. But I the only thing I missed there is AirDrop for like when I'm creating videos, which I can totally live without. Whereas the built-in S Pen on the S24 Ultra and that anti-reflective display, which
I
love it
can't
or hate it,
believe
is
that
an amazing
yeah,
display.
I can't believe the Fold didn't get that on the front. I was really expecting the cover display to at least get that, but
Yeah, it's brighter, right? And it's
definitely
still
brighter.
an AMOLED display and everything,
Mm,
but yeah, it's not the reflective coating, which is annoying. Yeah,
yeah. Have you tried the Buds? Because you've got the Buds 3 Pro,
yeah,
don't
yeah.
you?
I've been. Oh, I love the buds. You know, the quality, as in the audio quality and the noise canceling, everything's amazing. The one thing that I like the most about it, and I will talk about it in my videos, it stays in my ear. It's the first
Mm.
pair of buds that, and I know some people are having issues with the tips falling over or whatever, or breaking. Mine are absolutely fine. Yeah, I actually I bought one myself, but I also got Samsung to send me a pair, so I've got an extra one now.
You got one
But
more
yeah, no,
two
I
more than
love
I
it.
do because mine got delayed because
And
of the quality control issues that they've apparently been having. They had delayed them.
yeah, I heard that they're stopped, especially with this, yeah, with the Pro, right?
Mm.
But I think yeah, that is a major thing for me. It's I went to Portugal and it was super hot, and it's hot right now here. So without getting into gross details, talking about sweat, right? But the minute I get slightly moist, even in the winter, with the AirPods from Apple, they start like you can feel it's a kind of an annoying niggling feeling that they're about to fall off. And if even doing things like chewing, if I'm chewing either chewing gum or eating with the AirPod with the Apple one, they start to like slowly but surely fall off. And I dropped them on the train before. It's just yeah, and the Samsung ones yeah, and that's the standard tip. I haven't changed the tips either. Yeah, they just stick in your ear, which is I don't know if it's the material they use or the weight.
You're making me
Whatever it
jealous. I don't
is,
have it.
is working for me. The lighting thing is probably more of a gimmick than
Mm.
anything. I have tried the Find Me thing, and yeah, it's great. Uh, and I chose to leave them off, but I know you can turn it on somewhere to just have the lights on.
Oh, which would probably use a
But
bit of extra battery. Probably be a bit unnecessary to just leave them on, wouldn't it?
yeah, yeah,
Because you don't
the
see them.
battery's been fine too. Actually, yeah, I love it. I used the S24 Ultra to charge it once when on holiday,
Such a good thing to have. Except the Watch Ultra can't
but
do that. You can't charge the Watch Ultra off the back of the S24 because the power share. Apparently, they removed the power share
that's annoying,
ability.
isn't it?
Mm,
Yeah, that is annoying. Um, it's not the best thing to use anyway. I don't know if
I
you've
have, yeah.
like find because you turn it on and then you think it's on and then you go back to it, it's like it's gone off
You could
by
get
itself.
a like a notification and it might vibrate, which would then mean
Mm.
that it would shake it off and be annoying.
Yes, yeah. Anyway, apart from that, I mean, it's been great. I was going to talk to you about the this latch on the trail band on the watch.
This one?
Have you seen that? No, because
No.
that is the yeah. I've got that one as well. That's the one that I got originally, but I got an additional trail band,
Oh, okay. It's like
with,
a fabric.
and it's got the yeah. I mean, I was comparing this with the trail band from the Apple Watch Ultra, which I do like as well. But I don't know, the latching and the mechanism is so nice.
Is it like
I'm actually
this?
preferring it.
This is the Watch 5 Pro. Is it similar? How's it work?
No, no, it's not. But there's this little. It's very. I don't know. I'll throw a bit of B-roll
Okay.
here and share. But basically, yeah, it feels. The reason I'm talking about it is because Apple charged, I think it's $100 for their trail band, or for all their bands anyway. Um, and you don't get this quality. I mean, it's night and day. I mean, this will be a lot more difficult, I think, for people to replicate on Amazon.
Okay.
Whereas the Apple one, I got some really decent Apple ones for like $15.
The camera has officially burnt. It wasn't the battery, it's just too hot. So something we're going to get to later. Welcome back. So I'm now using the iPhone 15 on Cam Link thing.
Not bad, not bad.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I had to think, what can I do here? And grab the phone. Luckily, it's got enough charge in it. I should see me through. So I'm just trying to get my
Yes.
frame roughly right. There we go. So there we go. What did I miss,
There you
boys?
go.
I'll find out in the edit, will I?
Yeah, mate.
No,
Was I
keep it all
missed?
in.
We've solved world
Yeah.
hunger. We've got through world peace. Like, we've basically solved so many of the world's problems. You should have been here.
Exactly.
It's good to
Yeah,
know
it's all
that I'm really an important cog in this wheel. Thank you. I might use this in future, actually. It's actually really convenient just because I can look straight at the Mac rather than having to look at camera. Anyway, that's by the by. We'll see what the camera quality looks like. So
It's all good.
Should we talk about
Yeah.
cameras then, shall we?
it's probably a good idea, I think. I'm hoping that this is going to record all seamlessly. Heavens only knows.
I think so. Yeah, we carried on, and
Yeah.
it should be fine. I wouldn't bother about removing anything.
No, it just shows me I've only recorded 2 minutes, but hopefully that's only me. I think the other session, I'll look at it. Normally it has his way of working out in the background.
Yeah. Okay.
That's going to make my edit more fun. Right. So shall we talk cameras, YouTube? Where are we going?
Let's go cameras.
Let's go cameras.
Pretty poignant and considering what
It
just
is
happened.
really. Yeah. So I did, this happened once before. I forgot to put in the dummy battery that's obviously mains powered, but with the cam link going into the Mac, that powers it. So I put in the other, and I realised it's just too hot. The thing is roasting hot to hold. So it is just too hot in here at the moment. That's how it is. So
I changed mine to 24 frames per second because of that. 'Cause,
Yeah,
if
mine's
I
at
get it on
24.
60.
Yeah, it is warm in here. I'm sitting as still as possible to avoid any beading and my makeup running. So yes, cameras then, Daniel. You've made the big switch. How are you finding it?
It's been a learning process. Like, it's at the start, it felt all nice. Like, I had these new lenses, I had SD cards. It was great. And then slowly but surely, I've just noticed a few hiccups that sort of crept in. The other day, the first thing was like overheating. The camera just shut off while I was recording. And it was like right at the end of my second video I'd recorded that day. So it was kind of understandable. And then as soon as I fired
And
it,
your videos are like movies, like they're
Well,
like long features.
Quentin Tarantino, you can call me. And then the battery, as soon as I fired it back up after giving it a spell, then the battery died before I finished the video. So I had to swap out the battery. So that was my first hiccup. And then when I went to edit the B-roll footage from that day, the fridge just added more ice into the ice tray and it threw me off. When I went to edit the B-roll from that day, the footage, now the fridge is refilling the ice tray.
We can't hear it.
Oh, you can't hear it. Damn it. Anyway, so when I went to edit the B-roll footage, some of the footage was corrupt. Like, it captured some, but then it would like glitch out like halfway through the footage. And I'm like, well, why is it doing that? And it happened to like multiple videos. And then in the same batch, I noticed that some of them were out of focus because the Tamron lens that I was using wasn't really focusing on the right area. It was only focusing on like my thumb, and the phone screen was like just in front of it, and then it missed
Focusing
the phone.
is
Yeah.
So all of those three problems pretty much happened in a row. And I was like, this never happened with the phone. This never happened,
smartphones
not
are a
once.
lot easier to deal with with focusing.
So I've had to change the Tamron lens for this new Sony one that I'm using now. A lot more expensive, but much, much better. I got new SD cards.
Do you have like the product showcase thing turned on when you do that?
No. Is there? I did see that there, but I wasn't sure what
Yeah,
what
when
it
you're
does.
recording, I think that's easier because whatever it will focus on whatever is closer to the lens. But if you're filming hands and people, it will go to eyes. And sometimes, I was talking about this offline. Even if he sees like the iPhone lens is the perfect one. If he sees the iPhone lens, even if he's like far in the background, it will think it's an eye. It's weird, and then it will focus on that instead of where you're trying to shoot here. So,
Well, my problem was that the top-down shots that I was doing, whenever I was demonstrating something on the phone, it would catch here,
whatever is just above, yeah.
and then the phone, which was like literally in my palm, was blurry. I was like, well, I can't use any of that. So like,
Change the depth. Sometimes if you're doing top downs, you don't need that depth of field,
yeah.
right? You go to like f.4.0 or 5 even. You get a lot more in focus then. But yeah, it's just niggles with cameras.
So anyway,
It's completely learning. Yeah.
This new lens has got an autofocus and manual focus switch and a focus hold button. So I figured, and it's already been better. Like, the stuff I've shot today has been far better than what I've had before. I've got a new SD card, which was V60 versus V30, because I figured that's maybe what's corrupting the files. with the SD
I
card.
always go, I think V90, even whatever the highest
Yeah,
is.
well,
Yeah.
we can't all have FX3s, so that's
No, but even with the ZV E10, which is what I got. Yeah, I always figured that you want the fastest
mm.
possible. But,
Well, see
they're
how,
not cheap, right? These little cards are so expensive.
mm.
I've got the pro grade ones.
That's what I got.
Yeah,
Pro grade.
V90. Yeah, V90. They're. I mean, knock on wood, they've been really reliable for the last 3-4 years.
So yeah,
And
that's
how do
been
you?
my world with the camera.
It's worth the pain. I keep looking at the other camera. I've got to remember I'm here. It's old habits. It is worth the pain, though. It really is. Once you get through those first little few niggles, and you are a little bit slow initially, the net gain, the quantum leap in quality is huge.
What?
Yeah, yeah, and you learn a lot, right? I think it's good to sometimes, and I've in a way, I'm glad I went through learnings with lower spec gear before I went to a high end gear, because what you learn exhausting what's possible with a phone, a kind of a low spec gear, is so valuable later on, like in terms of exposure. The other thing that is going to start to annoy you is white balance. I don't know if you've
Yes.
gone through the color grading and things like that, but yeah,
Not color
getting
grading,
white balance.
but
Yeah.
I've tried to get it
We
as good
can talk about exposure. I'm
in.
completely over here.
Yeah, I've tried to get in camera white balance fine because yeah, again, the phone I had nothing to think about. I put
No,
it
it
down.
does it all.
I put portrait video mode on. I turn on the lights, hit record. This I'm probably fiddling a good extra 15-20 minutes before I even press record, just to make sure that the framing's right, make sure the lighting's right, make sure the depth of field is right, make sure that it's recording. I recorded a whole video with the microphone plugged into the speaker output, not the
Audio.
microphone.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, that was annoying. I went to edit it and I went, why does it sound so tinny? And then I looked at the camera, I'm like, "Blah." So that was a good Monday
Yeah.
night. I had to re-record 2 videos to get to do that
I
night as
imagine the
well.
air was blue.
Having backup audio is something else that I've learned. Yeah, by making
Mm,
a few of those mistakes, because you don't want to spend an hour, in my case, 45 minutes minimum, recording a 10-minute video, and then realize that the audio was screwed up. So yeah, since then I've now have the Sennheiser plugged into the camera via XLR, but I also have like a wireless microphone just in case as backup. So it won't sound as good, but
It will get
at
out of
least
jail.
one video in the last year, yeah, I had to use the backup audio.
How's the switch to the FX3 been?
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, I took it to Portugal. Sony actually kindly sent me this lens and another one. It's a good range between, I think, 16 mil and 50 mil in 2 lenses. So 16 to 24, I think, and 25 to 50, 24 to 50. Yeah, it's been great. I loved it. Yeah, nothing to report. I mean, I'm using it exactly the same way as I was using my
You've got a pair now,
A7S3.
haven't you?
Now I've got the A7S3 and the...
I've got effects on, yeah. Let me see if I can turn that one off as well.
what just
Yeah.
happened? That's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's one of those things.
I think if you go like this as well,
Yes, it will.
say
Yeah, I'm looking for. I'm
Please,
just trying
please
to find.
do it. Please do the thumbs
No,
up.
no.
That
And I
is-
think there's one that you go like this.
I know where to look. It's just trying to do it while you're recording and looking. Oh, here we go. No, not there. Carry on talking, guys. I'm just a spare part in this one, as it turns out.
It's all good. Yeah, no, the FX3. I think that the main thing I noticed as an improvement has been it's just the codec and the auto focusing. Funnily enough, I actually had to turn off before the podcast, turn off the eye detection because I was doing B-roll, and he's very good at detecting eyes, but he's also very good at thinking he's got some eyes in the picture. And yeah, so when you're doing like movies, not movies, videos with people that you want to focus on, yeah, getting the eyes in there. And he actually has animal eyes detection as well, so you can change it to focus on cats or dogs or birds or whatever.
I might have got a little bit lucky. The local authority, I was talking to you guys just before we started recording, they put out this email saying that they were looking to support local business with grants. And it's one of these things, it's a 50-50 match. So I put in Canon R5 Mark II. And they said, yep, we quite like the look of that. I haven't got it yet, but they have phoned me back. Funnily enough, phoned back saying, yeah, we've got all the paperwork we need. It looks a promising request. So that could happen. And equally, they're starting up a creators hub or forum around here. Monty wanted to go and speak at it as well. I didn't know there was any other creators where I am, but hey, who knows what happens behind closed curtains? But that sounds wrong. I knew that as I said it. But anyway, yeah. So I've been watching a lot of videos on this new Canon R5. I just kind of like Canon, and I've got used to the menu systems. And apparently, the C-Log 2 is supposed to be a really lovely color grade as well. So if it happens,
there's a huge UK creator. I think he's in the fitness like niche. He's not that close to you, but it's in Maidenhead.
Oh, that's near. That's very near.
It's not that
Yeah,
far,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I mean, I think forgot his name. Mark Smith or something. I'll put a link to it. But yeah, he's probably one of those near you.
to go and chat to. So yeah, I mean, I've since getting this Canon, sort of photography and videos, it's just become a hobby. I actually watch a lot of stuff now on YouTube just about, you know, different ways of shooting, different effects. And you know what it's like, even if you're stepping outside of what we do in tech and just learning about other things, it's so much fun. It's been a real eye-opener. The amount of weekends I take this back and just go out and shoot with it and play with it. And, you know, and I took it out on location for this week's video and had to use ND filters and stuff, which again is something you don't ever consider generally with smartphones unless you're shooting in log and so on.
It's definitely one of those things though. It's an expensive hobby, right? That it can become even if doing outside of YouTube, you might start getting into it. I was watching a Ronin 4 whatever video this morning. I don't need it. I don't want it. But I watched this video end to end because I was like, oh my gosh, it would be amazing. But even just getting one of the lenses they were talking about was like $7,000 just for the lens. Yeah, it's one of those dream scenarios. But
yeah. So I think the pain you're going through, Daniel, the odd little things you got, and again, a lot of it be one and done. You go through, get those settings right, and you'll be flying very soon. It'll just be, you know, crack on as you were before.
Yeah, I have enjoyed though the creative process of having
That's lovely
extra stuff, like knowing that I've got a lens that can sort of I literally just rotate and it zooms in, and it's even better quality when it's not zoomed in. Like you can get some super crisp product shots and really nice sort of depth of field, and then it's going to make thumbnail creation so much easier because
absolutely
I don't have to go to,
out all the time.
I'm not going to cut out all the time and go to Canva and get a fake background. I can just set it up on the table and maybe use like what I've got behind me as a backdrop potentially. So it's definitely a lot more considered, but the rewards and gains are going to be there. We'll just see. Hopefully, it's worth it in the long run.
It's definitely, I don't know about you guys, but it's definitely it's the favorite part of the process. The whole creation process is to actually record B-roll. Some people prefer the A-roll. Some people prefer the editing. I love the B-roll. It's one of those satisfying things for me that I sometimes spend way too much time doing it. But
my B-roll bin is huge all the time. And the part of the week I enjoy least is the headshot, the A-roll. I don't say it bores me, but I just find it's painful just sitting down, listening to yourself and looking into a piece of glass. Whereas the product shots, you can actually be creative and, you know, our boy in Oz, he's not there.
I'm the opposite. The B-roll for me is the most anxiety-driven part of the whole process.
Yeah, you've got the camera now. It'll fly. It'll look great.
But it's not even about that. It's more about, like, I just capture so much. And I'm like, what am I going to do with all this footage? Where's it going to go? Like, I've captured this, I've captured that. And then I'm like, I have to remember to talk about this in the A-roll or else I've just wasted my time. Or I mentioned something.
Okay, I'll give you one tip that works for me. And because I was like that as well. I used to spend way too much time recording B-roll and then end up with all this footage that I never used or used a little bit. Record the A-roll, edit the A-roll, and then make a list of the things you need. That's one way of doing it.
Exactly.
That's one way of doing it.
I've used Gling with that a couple of times where I've done the A-roll and then I go through what I actually said and I have everything set up and I just look through line by line and Gling what I said and then record the B-roll as said.
Yeah,
so that cuts
seems
down.
to be quite effective.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, the A-roll part, I love it. Me talking for like 20 minutes about something I'm passionate about. Like sometimes I finish a recording session and I'm like, oh, that felt good. Like it just feels and energizes me. Where I'm like,
I feel good that I finished it like it's out of the freaking way. not because I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's weird. We all have those different stages of the week that we kind of enjoy and, you know, loathe or don't. And the editing, I still enjoy the editing. That bit I really do like. Again, because things begin to come to life. You know what it's like? Every week, a video would just look slightly different. You don't quite know how it's going to look until you start to edit it. And there'll be slightly different ways you put it together. I don't know. It just comes to life, doesn't it? It becomes its own thing.
And you know what really kind of it pays off. I mean, people might not think it does, or people might, especially in the comments, they might not think it matters. But when I read a comment yesterday, I had a few of these actually saying, "Gosh, that must have been hard work," or "I can definitely see the production quality improving on our channel." It means so much to a creator when you read that, because it's like, yeah, those late hours, those, you know, painful like time that you took away, you know, sometimes from spending time with your family or whatever, you know, to hear that being noticed, whether it was a music choice or whether it was the editing, yeah, it's really nice. So it does. There's definitely a gratifying point as well.
So I think something we mentioned we were going to talk about. I've got a couple of things to cover on thumbnails. Now, I thought the two interesting areas to cover were kind of the A/B, and I know, Daniel, you have got experience of that from last week, and also faces in thumbnails, and sort of using thoughts on that. There were a couple of interesting chats we were having. So, well, yeah, but again, I don't know if the YouTube silly face is dying a death, but I know you, for instance, Alex, you've been putting your face in thumbnails more recently, and you're not doing the YouTuber face. It's just generally a soft focus face behind products. Do you?
Yeah, it's very deliberate, and that, yeah, there's a. I think I talked about it early days in this podcast of the reason why the expression is almost neutral. But yeah, we can talk about that.
So have you seen any benefit from facing thumb, or is it too early to tell? Click throughs, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's not what I prefer. If you go back to the history of my thumbnails, there's 400 in there, right? I'd say it's above 80% product shots. The odd, there'll be, you know, I'll be in the odd one. And then I'd say in the last 2 years, I focused a lot on the intro, the first 15 seconds, to have me in some way, have text in some way, but also the product straight away, so that when people are hovering,
Scrolling,
they
yeah,
see
yeah.
pretty much what the video is about, very without even clicking on it or listening to it. But the thumbnails, I've been begging YouTube to do the A/B testing for since pretty much I started, because the A/B testing is part of what is one of the things that I focus on at work. It's like when you launch a new feature to a website, you A/B test. You know, this is a standard thing in the industry for years. Anyway, and YouTube, Facebook actually has been using it for a long time as well. So I'm glad it's there. It's not perfect because the decision process is focusing on AVD. So it will choose a thumbnail based on the length of time that people are watching. So if you click on a thumbnail and then watch the entire video, that will count higher than you click on a thumbnail, even though you chose the thumbnail, and watch less time. So
So it's not
YouTube will
purely on
always
click
want you
through.
to, yeah. But you as the creator, you can stop the test at any time, and you can change the thumbnail at any time. But I've been letting the system do its thing, and I just made it part of my process. In reality, I was creating 7, 8. I think that was probably the max 8 thumbnails for a video. In some cases, when they don't perform, like, what am I doing here? Change thumbnail and improve a little bit, and then it tanks again. It's like, okay. So you get into this rut a little bit, and it was only recently that I stopped worrying. It's like, okay, I'll make 2 good thumbnails and one as a backup. Now with the 3 A/B testing, which is basically 3, I have one with a neutral expression, and then either 2 with different expressions, so 3 faces,
Always face.
but different expressions, or 1 with a product shot and 2 faces. So I've been testing on it, and yeah, all of them, the highest click, not the highest click rate. Well, I don't know what the CTR is the highest AVD, has always been the one with my face in. Which is interesting.
Yeah, it's food still, because I haven't put my face in a thumbnail for I can't think how long. So maybe I'll give it a crack. It's all well and good having a look to my thumbnails, but it's not to say it's working necessarily. So maybe it's time just to, as you said, I hate the thought of doing it, but maybe it's worth just trying it.
I absolutely. I mean, it was the Sony Xperia one. I think was the first one that I was really. And this is the good thing about having someone with you as well all the time. So I've got a helper here. She's here 3 days a week, and she's the one. People buy into you, right? That's what they want to watch. They want to watch you. And my counter argument is, people don't give a. They don't know who I am. You know, the world in YouTube is very. You think that they know. You think that, but the reality is, and you see that in your stats, right? The majority of people watching your videos every week are new viewers. So they won't know who you are. but having a face somehow on the thumbnail builds that connection. And and I see a lot of, I mean, you're probably not going to see many of me doing, like a silly face. But I see so many people with like big eyes and open mouth. And that's not who I am, So if you click on that and then you watch a video of me, like how I am, they go, that's not the same thing. So I try to be neutral because that's pretty much how I am most of the time. I'm kind of
Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
not overexcited.
Yeah, and you're the same as me, Daniel. You virtually never got your face in. I can't remember.
I tried it. I tried it like a week ago. I did a video where I compared recording on a camera versus recording on a phone, and part of to show the difference, I showed a flat image of the phone versus a flat image of the camera and it was me, it was my face, and the comment was pretty nasty. It was like, "No, don't be another YouTuber that does those bad faces," and it was an A/B test, so they just got one side of the thumbnail. The other one was the S24 Ultra as the subject, not me. And I got a bit like panicky, and I just sort of changed it out and went without it.
I wouldn't care, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. But I was already a bit iffy about doing it to begin with. And then I read that. That was like one of the first comments that I got on the video. And the video wasn't doing very well. So I was like, okay. So I panicked and changed it out. But I think for me, with my style of content.
But I was just, one point on that is my Galaxy Fold 6 unpacked before the hype video. So this was before I could actually speak because, even though I knew about the stuff, every year, so there's 2 points here. One is, being part of the embargo list is a blessing, but is also a bit of an issue because you know things, but you can't talk about them. But in the previous years, you knew things anyway because of the leaks, and you were able to allow to talk about it. So I still kind of found a way of doing the same thing. It was almost like a buying guide, and I do that with the iPhone. I do that for every big launch. And one of the thumbnails I chose was "Don't waste your money." It's just me kind of going like this, pointing to my head, and that was my C option. I was like, "There's no way people are going to click on that," but because I've seen it in the past, like the phrase "Don't waste your money," it's so powerful.
Yeah.
And you can guess, right? Out of the three, same actually the same thumbnail. I only changed the text. The text was "Don't waste your money," buy wisely, or something, or something. Let me see if I can find the test here, and then I'll send this view test report. Right, exactly the same face. It's just me. I'm smiling, to be fair. One is be smart with your money, don't waste your money, and avoid the hype. By a long distance, don't waste your money was the most viewed, like 40% watch time versus 31 on the other two. Triggering people and kind of creating a reaction even before they watch the video kind of works. I've also made the mistake sometimes of crossing the line a little bit into that clickbaity style. But to Daniel's point, the first comment I got was from someone who clicked on that one and said, "That's not a good look for you, using clickbait and whatever." But the video was absolutely killing it. So it's like, well, why should I not do it?
I need to look into it. Can you go back once a video is published? Can you still do A/B testing?
Yes.
So I can create another 2 or 3.
Only in the studio desktop version, the website, not in the app.
Yeah. Oh, I'm food for thought. I might have a play with that. The whole face thing. 2 thoughts. I think all of us actually don't particularly enjoy putting our faces in there, but equally, I know that the one unique thing that we've got is our face. The one thing that's always going to be recognisable as us. Although, to the point you mentioned, that a lot of people watching our videos are new viewers, so they don't necessarily know what we look like. But if you're looking for instant recognition beyond colours, beyond fonts, it's your face, right? So I kind of understand.
And the fact that the algorithm is set up that way, right? Set up for that initial burst of views. If they're coming from your regular viewers, it will then get pushed out. So I think using the face in that first few hours is a good thing, but perhaps change it to a product shot later on might be a different strategy. I haven't. It's a theory, and I think I've done that before. Where it's gone back and changed. I don't like my face on the thumbnail, so I've changed it back. so that it looks almost like an Instagram, like reel, not reel. What do they call
Story.
it? The grid.
Yeah.
So that the grid looks nice, but at the time you're trying to get the algorithm to work, you used your face. So maybe it's a strategy,
If
right?
you look at the bigger YouTubers like Marquez and Mr. Who's the Boss, they will 95, 99% of the time use their face because they've got such a recognizable brand. Like both of them have 19 million subscribers.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they just do a product shot, their thumbnail doesn't stand out from the other
valid.
product shot
Yep.
videos. But because they have a face that's recognizable, people will stop and go, "Oh, it's a Mr. Who's the Boss video. I'll click on it." And
I
I've
think Michael
noticed
Fisher came up with
he's got a very unique
uh,
format. Like,
so yeah, it doesn't matter if he's facing it or not. You know it's one of his videos, right?
correct.
Because his style is unique.
Very uniquely him. And I've tried to sort of create that for myself where, like I think we spoke about it a few weeks ago, I've got the yellow crown, I've got the arrows, and mine are very heavily, like, I don't
plagiarized.
know. Yeah. Potentially.
So many people copied you. I mean, I have seen that style before, but they weren't really like at your size. They were much smaller channels. But after you've obviously created a successful channel and this stuff works, I've seen so many times. I'm almost clicking on a video thinking it's yours, and then hang on, that's not your channel. Yeah.
Well, the concept behind my thing is that people will recognize that it's a guide. Like I'm showing them how to do something, and I'm like, it's either a screenshot of the phone screen, it's arrows comparing something, and people tend to respond to it. So for me, putting my face in it, it's not really needed. Plus, I got a font and a color scheme. It's all kind of part of the aesthetic. And I'm hoping that is recognizable enough. And then that first few seconds is always my face. Like the A roll, first few seconds A roll, it's me like pointing at the camera, not shouting like some people. Alex, we know who we're talking about there. It's just not yelling,
throwing things at the camera,
or throwing things, or breaking glass or something. It's just me talking and making a statement or something that's sort of a bit bold, and then I'll go from there. And then that tends to work for me.
And you also last week swapped out a thumb, didn't you? On Daniel on a video, and you noticed an immediate once you got it right, you saw the spike.
I put it in our chat. As soon as I changed the thumbnail, like I changed it a couple of times and to no success, and I knew
what sort of time frame are you talking about after it went up? How many days?
Probably a day and a half, maybe 2 days. This is why I think thumbnail A/B testing might not be for me, because I struggle with thumbnails at the start, and then maybe a couple of days later I'll have a aha moment and I'll come up with a thumbnail that I need to do. For this one, for the flip, I knew that I wanted to talk about Dex being on the flip in it's not on the flip, but it's like kind of there. And I put it in the first thumbnail that I made, but very subtle, like at the bottom of in small text, as a hope that people would see it and click on that, and it didn't work. So for this rebrand thumbnail, I made it the complete center of attention. I then added it into the title. Like I tied the title into the fact that was there, and immediately saw an uplift. And that video is now doing 3,000 views every 48 hours. And the flip's really good for RPM as well. It does really good. Advertisers seem to want to advertise on flip videos. So it's kind of like a good reason to make it as well.
I think there are. By the way, that was a delivery guy that came. I didn't have camera issues, but I had an interruption of some sort.
This edit,
3 for 3.
This edit is gonna. I'm gonna have so many files in Riverside.
I would leave it. Honestly, it's a podcast and shit happens.
We're humans.
But I was gonna say on the forgot my train of thought now. No, on the thumbnail thing. There are some videos like the ones that. And after a while, you figure out which ones those are, the ones that actually drive the channel. Then you mentioned a good one there. For me, there's one that is it's not really what the channel is about, but I've done 2 of those and they worked really well, which is the best SSDs.
Yeah. It's live.
Because because the first one did so well, I was like, that's got to be a repeatable formula. And I was right, in that, and I was wrong a lot of times, but that one, it was very repeatable. And I looked at the, where people are watching the most. So you go through back of your video. I don't know if you've done this before. You go like, what are people focusing on? And here's a tip for anyone doing tech reviews: if you put a table with data in it and say to people, look, I'm not going to mention specs, but here's kind of the gist of it, that bit will get a massive spike. And the SSD was the first time I noticed it,
Would that
and I
be
reused it, and I then reused it in a way that was kind of in every section of the video. Incredible retention. You got to be clever how you kind of weave that into the thing. But the thumbnail, I was very particular about it as well, because I was like, I know the thumbnail works, so I didn't change how it. I just changed the products, but yeah, the thumbnail was. If you put them side by side, it's like, yeah, it's a copy of the previous video. So sometimes you might want to just like, there's no need to be extra creative. It's just like whatever worked before, and doesn't need to be even your channel. So if you see a video that you're trying to make, that was, I think I did one with the iPad where Marquez had the
the
top down
hands?
iPad and had some light coming out of the iPad, and I did exactly the same. Huge CTR. The video didn't do that well, but the CTR was amazing.
Yeah, they're such a
Yeah.
powerful part of the whole package, aren't they? The thumbnail, you know, and just when you think you kind of got it right, then it goes and kicks you, and you realise, no, that's not quite it yet. And yeah, it just doesn't end trying to get the creation right on it.
No, and that's, with thumbnails, it's just the first step, but it's such an important.
It is,
I
yeah.
mean,
It's a
I
shop
hate
window,
the
isn't it?
fact that because so much work goes into the video, and yet the thing that people care about is the thumbnail to actually choose your video. It's just it doesn't feel like a fair
You kn-
thing for people to, because
that
the recommendation should say, watch this thing because I think based on what you like, this is what you're gonna like. Don't worry about the thumbnail. Just watch this.
But that's what
But
TikTok and Instagram and Shorts is meant to be, right? Like it's not based off a thumbnail. It's just based off what gets put in front of you, and then based off
yeah,
that first like 5 seconds, whether it's interesting for you or not.
which is good and bad, right? I sent you guys the video about, I think it was about Patreon. The underlying message was about Patreon, but the actual thing this guy called Jack Conte talks about is how the TikTok kind of format is basically killing followers. So 10 years ago, having 100,000 followers, would be awesome. Now it's like, you don't know, every time you create a video, you don't know if that video is being shown to your followers or to your subscribers, right? So yeah, it's good and bad, because it's all this curated content, and YouTube trying to do the same with shorts and stuff.
I look at it like
Yeah.
YouTube is the way YouTube always explain it is they're showing videos for the customer. Their customers are the
Mm,
consumers that watch videos. So they're not
mm,
necessarily just going to favor or put in front of customers a creator just because the creator is popular. They'll try and match the interests of the person watching with the right video for the time, and that might not be your video. Like your video might
mm,
not be the right person. Like when I think about it for myself, like I made that camera versus phone video, my subscribers probably don't care. They're probably just
mm.
like, I
I
don't
was
want to
wondering
see
that when you
this.
posted the video because they know you are Samsung and suddenly bringing a camera into the mix. It's like that's not what we're here to watch.
Exactly. And the video tanked. It was
I would,
2.9 thousand,
yeah.
which is like very low for me at the moment. So it's like, it's more about, I knew that probably wasn't going to do well, but I like had a gap in the schedule, and I was like, you know what? I
No, we've all
guess
got
it'll be
to.
very easy to make. I'll just chuck it out there, and it did what it did.
And I think as a creator, that's in a way, YouTube is contradicting itself sometimes. Or they say, and I've heard several people say this at YouTube and in their little videos that they publish, like, try different things, like
Mm.
even within your niche, try to
Yeah.
branch out, and that's how you grow. But the minute you do that, they slap you like, get
Yeah.
back in your box.
They want you in
Don't-
lane. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I
yeah.
don't, I don't agree that that's what they want. Like, I think
Mm.
they want,
No, they
they
don't. Yeah.
don't want, or like they won't promote it. Like, how am I?
Mm.
Like, let's say I decided to make a Taylor Swift video, trying different things. Like, I could talk about it because my wife is
Yeah, that's
obsessed.
extreme out of the
Right, that's
niche, but
extreme
yeah.
out of the niche. But like, if I tried that, it wouldn't work because as much as
I
the
tell you
video
what
might
would
be
work.
good or I might talk with good knowledge, it wouldn't get shown
Yeah.
to the right Taylor Swift people because there's already established Taylor Swift creators that are sort of making that already. So like, I wouldn't cut through.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally get that. And yeah, we talked many times about the niching down or staying branch. I mean, there are pros and cons of each, right? I mean, I can guarantee you that if I do a video about the iPad this weekend, which I was planning to do, it's going to tank. But if I do maybe 4 or 5 of videos of the iPad and comparing that with the Tab S9 Ultra, the minute I start being controversial, then it will work. So yeah, there's limits within the niche. But if I talk about camera lens, for example, which I will have to at some point, yeah, that video will tank. Even though I love talking about camera gear, it's not gonna
You know
do
what I'd
that.
love to see from you, Alex? Fold 6 versus iPad Mini. That'd be a good comparison.
Yes, yeah, I've been trying to do something like that since Fold 4. So I was gonna find a schedule because yeah, I never tried an iPad Mini apart from at the store.
But
So
also talking about the algorithm and the feed, I think you put on our chat last night, didn't you, Daniel? I mean, there's your Samsung boy, and suddenly my short pops up talking specifically about iPhone Slim. Oh, no, yeah, it was, wasn't it? I mean, why? You know, it was so out of what they'd think you were watching, apart from tech smartphones.
To be fair, like on that particular account, because I have many, I have subscribed to pretty much all my creator friends that I've got.
Right,
And
okay,
I
so it
am,
makes some sense.
and I ensure that I click on the video and sort of watch it through to the end, just because I support it through.
Support, yeah.
Like sometimes I don't have the time or the kids are around, so I'll just put it on, press play, and let it sit there, and then
No,
I'll
I think
come back and watch it another time. But that's why it's recommended Samuel, because I do that with him. It's recommended Alex, and I get yours that come through with the shorts as well. So it happens.
I don't know, before Alex joined us at the beginning, I was saying, funny enough, the two I always watch, first of all, are YouTube, because obviously I know YouTube best. And I'll always make sure they play to the end, because I know what every view that goes through to the end just helps. You support, within a close knit, you will always support the people that you care about, right? It's just a natural thing.
Here's a question. When you skip an ad, like the ads that show, does that cut how much revenue the creator gets? Do you need to let those skippable ads play through for it to be fully paid through? Or is it like they just know that they're paying that rate for a skippable ad, then they know that it might be skipped and the creator still gets the amount? I don't know. I've always wondered.
I do have a couple of accounts as well, but they're all part of my family premium thing, so I don't see that because I see it as a waste of time. But I do have an account for, I think I use it for work, that is not premium. So whenever I make the mistake of clicking on my own video sometimes just to see if he's playing well and what ads are showing and things like that, I skip it because I just I don't want you might get hit by that, what's it called?
Invalid traffic.
Invalid traffic. I don't know if it's still happening, but yeah, those things really scare me. So I do it for testing purposes and making sure that, but yeah, on my own account, which is my algorithm is a mess. I watch from UFC highlights, football stuff, tech channels. So good luck to the algorithm trying to figure out who I am.
Yeah. I found a couple of new channels I started watching this week, so far away from what I make videos about. But, suddenly my home screen is like, what the hell are you watching?
And my TV at home, especially now school holidays, my TV at home is with my accounts linked.
Yeah.
So my son is watching like Call of Duty videos and stuff. So I get all these weird recommendations.
I've got no idea of how long we've been talking. I think quite a long time. I've got no idea this is going to be
70 minutes.
We were going to talk about, there was a YouTube issue thing. I forgot. Something came up yesterday. My memory is all over the shop. Hang on.
We were talking seasonal, whether that affects things.
No, there was something that happened yesterday on my video from yesterday. I'm trying to remember what it was. And I said, we should talk about that.
I can't look at my phone because I'm using it to record the camera.
It was in you put a voice message up, Alex. See, this is why you never do voice messages.
No, it wasn't. No, I think I actually mentioned it in the thing. Bear with me.
Yeah, we got time.
Oh, right. It was timestamps. Right.
Oh, yes. You completely screwed up on timestamps, didn't you?
So I always, whenever it goes above, say, 11, 12 minutes, I will put timestamps because I just think it's nice and people do appreciate it. But I also know that people use it to skip and whatever. But if I'm getting above 35% AVD on a video that is 10 minutes, I'm happy. Because, unless it's a banger. You know, I never really get above 50%. It is very rare. Like the SSD one is one of those very rare high AVD. But anyway, yesterday I put the timestamps in, but I also mentioned before I put the timestamps in the description, I mentioned, oh, by the way, this thing I mentioned on minute 7, and I put the timestamp there. Here's the link to that thing. And it was actually Espresso Displays. Shout out. They never sent me one, but I just said, here's a link to it if you want to know more about it. But because I mentioned that timestamp at the top of the description instead of lower where the 0.00 starts, it didn't actually put the timestamps in. So the first timestamps in the description has to be 0.00,
yeah.
to actually break it up. So my first reaction was, oh shit, I gotta fix it. Then I went to the studio and looked at the videos. Like, my God, this is really high engagement. It's like, why is that? And then I realized, actually, not having the timestamps is playing an important. And then the second thing was, has anything mentioned it in the comments? No, and it's still doing well, like AVD wise. I'm not gonna remove it.
I don't know why.
Timestamps are still in the description, and you can actually click on the timestamps in the description. But in the video itself, I don't know. Yeah, if you guys
in the
played up with it.
podcast a few weeks back when we mentioned timestamps, without fail, everyone was saying, "Yeah, please, guys, timestamps." Although, actually thinking, I don't use them an awful lot when I'm watching. If I don't know if I tend to watch content because I actually want to watch it, so I'm not going to sit and jump through it. You know, some bits might not be quite as pertinent to me, but
listen, it's not just a little bit better, and this is the average. So it will take into account your viewers and new viewers, but it's 4 minutes above in some areas of the video. Like at one point it was like 7-minute retention on a 20 minutes, like almost half of the videos being watched. It's incredible. I've done 20-minute videos before, and they usually get like 5.5, 6 minutes retention, which is good. But above 7, I've never seen it before. Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm not a timestamp person if the video is less than 15, really. Like, I will put them in, but I like if I'm talking about the camera, I won't put timestamps in for each individual thing. Like, I won't say
just
ultra
camera.
wide. I'll just say camera section. This is the section for the camera. Want to watch
so it
it?
could run for 6-7 minutes.
Good.
Yeah.
Don't want to watch it? Move on. And then there'll be the performance section. Like the flip video I did on Sunday, I had design, camera, performance, and then I had decks at the end. And the decks, because the video is centered around decks in at least the thumbnail, there's this huge spike with the deck section. Actually, I'll see if I can show you, because it's quite crazy. Everyone just kind of skipped to that part. Or is it here?
Yeah, I can't see that detail there on this video because it's only a day, but
All right, like you can see that spike. That's Samsung Dex, and like it's good retention. Like almost 5 minutes, 34% is okay.
And I guarantee if you put an integration in there, you will see the opposite.
The opposite, yeah, it'll mirror it, which is fine. Look, we're not going to show that because we don't want sponsors to see what it does.
But YouTube are doing that now, right? The YouTube are bringing in a feature that says skip ahead.
Yeah, we spoke about that a few weeks ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Sort of like killing us. We done?
I think so.
So that was that. Yeah.
Yeah. I know what there's going to be about 700 files in Riverside. This is going to be a fun one. Wish me luck.
But I wouldn't remove anything.
No.
Just glue them together. Yeah.
I will do what I can. It's just I think it's easy. It's 2 sessions for memory. So anyway, I'll put on the group chat how much I'm panicking about it over the weekend. But.
Yeah. If you both ping me a headshot, I'll do something on the thumbnail.
Alex is doing our thumbs now.
Give me a title as well. Idea. We'll figure it out.
Daniel, I'll tell you what. Here's what we're going to do.
Yeah,
I'll do the edit. Daniel do the title. Alex do the thumb.
I think we should call it Ultra Disappointing ? And then maybe something to do with the Watch Ultra, because that's kind of how we led out at the start, right? We talked about the Watch Ultra, and then that can kind of bring people in with the thumbnail. So
I'm down with that.
That will work, and it's not clickbait.
No,
it's actually
we're disappointed.
It's on point. Yeah. We're delivering.
Yep.
Right, so we got our work cut out. We know what we're doing, boys.
Yep.
Should we bit about the rest of our business?
Yep, I think so. I'm gonna go to
Yep,
bed.
send me a disappointing looking face then, based on that.
I will send
We
you.
actually shall we do an AVD test on this? Not AVD, but yeah, AB test.
Let's do it.
A/B testing, sure thing.
Okay,
Yeah, so send me a disappointed face and a happy face, and I will do.
let's test it.
Yeah,
Real life testing. We'll like this. Okay.
good man. Cheers, boys.
See you in a couple of weeks, lads.